The cybernauts are a group of mystics among the virtual adepts, who are fighting the ascension war on the spiritual plane. Their main belief is that the world of matter, flesh and entropy is evil, and that pure information is the...
Those who are trying to prepare themselves for entry into the evolutionary level above human, synonymous with the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven. We're going to talk to you about the most urgent thing that is on our mind, and
if people observe their own unconscious tendencies in other people, this is called a projection. Political agitation in all countries is full of such projections, just as much as the backyard gossip of little groups and individuals. Projections of all kinds obscure our view of our fellow men, spoiling its objectivity, and thus spoiling all possibility of genuine human relationships. And there is an additional disadvantage in projecting our shadow. If we identify our own shadow with, say, the communists or the capitalists, a part of our own personality remains on the opposing side. The result is that we shall constantly, though involuntarily, do things behind our own backs that support this other side, and thus we shall unwittingly help our enemy. If, on the contrary, we realize the projection and can discuss matters without fear or hostility, dealing with the other person sensibly, then there is a chance of mutual understanding.
To say that God is a hateful God, must they?
Absolutely, we are really in a state of crisis.
This is an organization that has an apocalyptic end of days strategic vision.
It is now our generation's success to carry on.
Life is not a dream. Beware.
Echoing the beliefs of 20th century physicists, ancient prophets viewed time and the course of our history as a path that may be traveled in.
Now hell is the germ-infested garbage dump and graveyard for rotting carcasses of the universe. Revelation 21:27, the Bible says nothing can enter into heaven which will be defiled. Germs will defile it. Sickness will defile it. So those who die in their sins cannot get into heaven, because they are a worm, a maggot, of death. The unsaved man, woman, boy, or girl.
Echoing the beliefs of 20th century physicists, ancient prophets viewed time and the course of our history as a path that may be traveled in three directions, vertically, as well as reverse and forward. Southeasters of our past recognized that their visions merely portrayed. Surely the classical questions of language and mind receive no final solution, or even the hint of a final solution, from the work that is being actively pursued today. Nevertheless, these problems...
The solution of the problem of life is seen in the vanishing of this problem. Is not this the reason why men to whom after long doubting the sense of life became clear, could not then say wherein this sense consisted? There is indeed the inexpressible. This shows itself. It is the mystical. The solution of the problem of life is seen in the vanishing of this problem. Is not this the reason why men to whom after long doubting the sense of life became clear, could not then say wherein this...
Again I looked and saw all the oppression that was taking place under the sun. I saw the tears of the oppressed and dead, and they have no comforter. Power was on the side of their oppressors and dead, and they have no comforter. And I declared that the dead, who had already died, are happier than the living, who are still alive. But better than both is he who has not yet been, who has not seen.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you...
Well, maybe you ought to try making love to a complete stranger in the middle of hostile mutant territory.
Look, family or not, I got a pretty good chance of getting a piece of ass here.
What the hell are you talking about? Oh, if only they had the pill when I was young.
Take it easy, lady. You'll live longer.
Now we move on to the truly tasteless. The vile, the...
To be, or not to be, that is the question, whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing in them, to die, to sleep, no more, and by asleep to say we end the heartache and 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to, 'tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream, aye, there's a rub, for in that sleep of death what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause, there's the respect that makes calamity of so long life, for who would dare to withstand storms of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office and the sterns that patience bears of the unworthy takes, when he himself might this quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would far those bear, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the breath of something after death, beyond this severe country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have been slight to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of revolution is sickly to work with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment with disregard their current stern aright, and lose the name of action. To be, or not to be, that is the question.